Good evening, here are tonight's top stories. Archibald aims for history at the Paris Olympics. Guyanese businessman Tames Jugmohan denies allegations of gold smuggling and terrorism financing. A Cor Riverton man has been remanded for stealing a motorcycle from the Springlands police station. A lawyer for Charmaine Bolam has written to former rape-accused Minister Emanuel Archibald. The AFC has strengthened its commitment to indigenous affairs by hiring expert Laura George. Minister Deidre Indar calls for responsible waste disposal ahead of a national cleanup exercise. Dr. Ashney Singh highlights ongoing issues in the NIS system at a trainee inspector's graduation. A Trinidadian and a Guyanese have been arrested for skimming in Suriname. The opposition condemns Jago's recent political interference in the judicial system. Stay tuned for the details of these stories. Please remember to like, share and subscribe to our channel for more news.
Guyanese businessman Tames Jugmohan denies allegations of gold smuggling and terrorism financing. Prominent Guyanese businessman Tames Jugmohan has refuted claims that he is under investigation by the United States for alleged involvement in gold smuggling, drug trafficking, and financing international terrorism. These serious accusations were made by Rickford Burke, an overseas-based activist and president of the Caribbean Guyana Institute for Democracy, CGID, in a Facebook post. Burke alleged that Jugmohan and his family are being scrutinized by the Office of Terrorist Financing and Financial Crimes and the Office of Foreign Assets Control, OFAC, of the U.S. Department of Treasury. According to Burke, a U.S. law enforcement report suggests that Jugmohan is involved in gold smuggling, narcotic smuggling, money laundering, and funding international terrorism. In response, a spokesperson for Jugmohan issued a statement vehemently denying all allegations. We have recently been made aware of various allegations originally published on the Facebook account of Rickford Burke and circulating in the media, regarding Mr. Tames Jugmohan, a respected businessman and philanthropist in Guyana. It is essential to address these claims directly and unequivocally to prevent the spread of misinformation and protect Mr. Jugmohan's reputation, the release stated. The spokesperson affirmed that Jugmohan has never engaged in illegal activities and has consistently adhered to Guyanese and international laws, maintaining high ethical standards in his business operations. The allegations of involvement in gold smuggling, narcotics trafficking, money laundering, and financing international terrorism were described as baseless and defamatory. The statement also addressed specific accusations regarding connections to Hezbollah, an alleged terrorist group. Mr. Jugmohan is a devout Hindu believing in the internal and external promotion of peace and has no affiliation or connection with Hezbollah or any other organization designated as a terrorist entity. These claims are not only false but also harmful, as they unjustly associate him with activities and groups that he has never supported and will never support, it read. Regarding Burke's claims of investigations and potential sanctions, the spokesperson emphasized that Jugmohan has always cooperated fully with regulatory authorities and law enforcement agencies. The release stressed that there has been no official communication or action from the U.S. government or any other body indicating any criminal wrongdoing on Jugmohan's part. Mr. Jugmohan remains committed to transparency and is open to cooperating with any legitimate inquiries to clear his name. He will continue to work with his legal team to challenge these false accusations and pursue all necessary legal actions to protect his reputation, the statement concluded. Archibald aims for history at Paris Olympics. It's time to show the world my talents, declared star sprinter Emanuel Archibald as he prepares to compete in the Olympic 100m event tomorrow, 12:40 p.m. tomorrow Guyana time, in Paris. The national record holder for Guyana will take his place in the blocks around noon, local time, for the thrilling heats of the marquee event of the Games. Archibald's goal in Paris is clear: to become the first man in Guyana's history to run under 10 seconds and secure a spot in the finals among the fastest men on the planet. Having set a new national record with a time of 10.09 seconds on June 15, Archibald is ready to execute his performance with pride and passion. The sprinter hopes that his lifetime of hard work will bear fruit on the sport's highest stage. "My time is now," said the two-time Olympian, who turns 30 next month. "The goal is always to make the finals and give myself a chance to medal." Archibald, a native of the mining town of Linden, believes that the high caliber of competition will bring out the best in him on the track at Stade de France in the French capital. The Jamaica-based athlete is especially enthusiastic about the prospect of creating history by securing Guyana's first-ever track and field medal at the Olympic Games. Guyana's lone Olympic medal to date was earned by boxer Mike Paris at the 1980 Games in Moscow, Russia. As Archibald takes to the track, the nation will be watching with bated breath, hoping to witness a new chapter in their sporting history. Cor Riverton man remanded for stealing motorcycle from Springlands police station. Ezekiel Jones, a 23-year-old laborer from No. 77 housing scheme, Cor Riverton, Burbus, has been remanded to prison after being charged with simple larceny. The charge stems from the alleged theft of a motorcycle from the Springlands police station. The proceedings took place at the No. 51 Magistrates Court before Magistrate Tuana Hardy. According to the allegations, on Sunday, July 28, 2024, Jones unlawfully took possession of a motorcycle valued at $290,000, belonging to Mohammed Mustafa Yard Ali. The motorcycle was reportedly stolen while it was parked at the police station in Cor Riverton. Jones faces charges under Section 164 of the Criminal Law, Offences, Act Chapter 801. During his court appearance, Jones did not enter a plea in response to the charge. The case has been adjourned until Thursday, August 8, 2024, and will be transferred to the Springlands Magistrates Court for further hearings. Trinidadian and Guyanese arrested for skimming in Suriname. Waterkant. The police in Suriname have arrested 40-year-old Trinidadian Aloy T. and 39-year-old Guyanese Ambrosius P. on Thursday in connection with skimming, a form of fraud where criminals copy the details of a payment card. A report was filed with the Latour police on Thursday, July 25, for embezzlement and theft. The complainant noticed a significant decrease in the account balance and subsequently requested a printout from Hakron Bank. It was discovered that 10,000 SRD had been withdrawn from an ATM on the Verleng Gemenelensweg and 28,000 SRD had been paid via POS device at Digital World. The Surinamese police identified and arrested suspects T. and Ambrosius P. during their investigation, which revealed their involvement in the high-profile bank debit card fraud case. Authorities found and seized a total of 94 counterfeit debit cards in the suspect's vehicle. The case has been transferred to the fraud department for further investigation. Skimming typically involves an inconspicuous device attached to an ATM or payment terminal. This device reads and steals data from a card's magnetic stripe when inserted, allowing criminals to create counterfeit debit cards and withdraw money from victims' bank accounts. The Surinamese Bankers Association recently issued a warning about the increasing number of skimming fraud cases in the region. Opposition condemns Jagdio's recent political interference in the judicial system. The opposition has unequivocally condemned Vice President Barrett Jagdio's recent comments regarding the ongoing trial of election-related matters. Jagdio's remarks, targeting the presiding magistrate, the accused, their attorneys, and the overall administration of justice in Guyana, have been deemed an attack on the judicial system. Jagdio's call for international observers and the international community to monitor the proceedings, purportedly to ensure accountability and prevent impunity among public officers, has been interpreted by the opposition as an attempt to pressure the court into delivering guilty verdicts regardless of the evidence presented. The vice president has accused the magistrate of bias, alleging that the court is entertaining frivolous objections, failing to record evidence, and suppressing evidence. He has also threatened to escalate the matter to the Caribbean Court of Justice at the onset of the proceedings. The opposition views these allegations as an effort to undermine the integrity of the magistrate and the judicial system. According to the opposition, Jagdio is allegedly trying to replace the current magistrate with one who would guarantee convictions, irrespective of the evidence. They warn that such actions could have severe consequences and emphasize that the legal process should proceed without political interference. In a democratic society, the judiciary's independence and the administration of justice must be upheld, with errors being corrected through appellate courts. The opposition argues that it is undemocratic for the executive to attempt to coerce the judiciary to achieve its desired outcomes and that it is sinister to attack judicial officers' integrity without justification. The opposition refutes Jagdio's claims of delays caused by the accused and their attorneys, highlighting that delays have primarily resulted from prosecution actions, such as resolving the manner of trial and document disclosures. They assert that the defense's objections to inadmissible evidence presented by the prosecution are justified. With general and regional elections approaching, the opposition stresses the importance of allowing the courts to operate independently and without interference. They call for the government to focus its resources on investigating corrupt practices within its ranks and agencies, rather than undermining the judicial process with threats and misinformation. AFC strengthens commitment to indigenous affairs with hiring of expert Laura George. The Alliance for Change, AFC, has announced a significant step in its commitment to indigenous affairs with the hiring of Laura George, a respected local indigenous expert. At a press conference held this afternoon, AFC leader Nigel Hughes revealed the appointment, emphasizing the party's dedication to involving experienced individuals in various sectors of national development. We believe all communities, every single community, and every single sector, every single stakeholder has the right to participate in crafting the development of our nation, especially in light of our recent fortune in relation to oil, Hughes stated. Highlighting the importance of inclusive development, Hughes underscored the AFC's stance that indigenous communities should be active participants in the nation's progress, extending beyond their own community development. Laura George, who previously served as an expert at the Amerindian Peoples Association, APA, brings a wealth of experience to her new role. Hughes praised her extensive background in indigenous affairs, noting that her expertise will be instrumental in shaping the party's policies and initiatives. George's appointment aims to ensure that indigenous rights and interests are effectively represented and integrated into the broader national agenda. In light of Guyana's accelerated development, largely due to the oil and gas sector, the Alliance for Change strongly believes that our future is bright if we plan, manage, and execute responsibly, with citizens as the center of focus for development, George remarked during the press conference. She emphasized the necessity of full and effective participation of indigenous peoples in the nation's development and highlighted the state's obligations to respect and protect their rights. George outlined the AFC strategy for ensuring indigenous participation and inclusion, covering areas such as climate change mitigation and adaptation, infrastructure development, commercial agriculture, conservation, health, education, social services, and protection for vulnerable groups including women, youth, children, and the elderly. This means that as the AFC continues to vigorously monitor all current policy, program, and project implementations in the hinterland by the current administration, we will continue to call on the PPP government in its failure to prepare the nation effectively for fiscal responsibility and equitable distribution of resources, she stated. Hughes reiterated the significance of George's appointment, noting that it signifies the AFC's recognition of the critical need for indigenous perspectives in the formulation of national policies. This is particularly crucial in the context of Guyana's evolving socio-economic landscape driven by the burgeoning oil and gas industry. Lawyer for Charmaine Bolam writes former rape accused Minister Nigel Duramlal. Reckless actions. The matter at caption refers. I act on behalf of Ms. Charmaine Bolam of Newtown, Georgetown. Ms. Bolam had initially been informed on or around the July 30, 2024, that you were communicating to government officials and persons from the diplomatic community that you had undertaken a private investigation that revealed that she was suspected of being involved in defaming you via social media. Ms. Bolam was then arrested on the July 31, 2024, and she was informed by members of the Guyana police force that you had made a report against her in this regard. From the outset, my client is categorically stating that she is not involved in any action on or off social media that affects your reputation. You may or may not be aware, but my client has had cause to make a report to the Information System Unit of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs a few weeks ago about unusual activity that was occurring across her social media accounts and professional email account that may have caused information or said accounts to be compromised. It should be noted that this report was made prior to your communication of her involvement. A report was also made to the Guyana Police Force in this regard. We appreciate that you would want to determine who the party or parties is or are who may actually be using social media to tarnish your good reputation. However, your actions in informing all and sundry about what your private investigation has revealed is reckless. It is causing my client harm, and you are interfering with the administration of the law. In accordance with the expected outcome of the police investigation, which is anticipated to unequivocally exonerate my client, a formal and comprehensive apology will be expected of you upon the conclusion of said investigation. Until such time, it would be prudent for you to refrain from any undue and hasty judgments and actions against my client, as such may be construed as prejudicial and unfounded. Your actions may amount to conspiring to procure the conviction of an innocent person, and it smears my client's good name. Thank you in anticipation of your compliance. If there is non-compliance within 24 hours of your receipt of this correspondence, legal action will be instituted against you without further notice. Minister Deidre Indar calls for responsible waste disposal ahead of National Cleanup Exercise. As the National Cleanup Exercise approaches, Minister within the Ministry of Public Works, Deidre Indar, has urged key business organizations to encourage their members to dispose of commercial waste responsibly. Speaking as the chairman of the National Enhancement Committee, Minister Indar called on the Private Sector Commission, PSC, the Guyana Manufacturing and Services Association, GMSA, the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry, GCCI, and the Chinese Association of Guyana to take collective action in addressing the issue. Minister Indar expressed concern over the unsightly state of Georgetown and other areas, which have increasingly become unregulated garbage sites. We do as much as we can as a government, but at the end of the day everybody has to have a collective approach to achieve behavioral change, he emphasized. The PSC reiterated its support for the cleanup exercise and echoed calls for stronger enforcement and a shift in public behavior towards waste disposal. In addition, an extensive public relations campaign aimed at educating the public about the detrimental effects of littering on the environment will soon be launched. The meeting saw participation from City Councillors Don Singh and Stephen Jacobs, Solid Waste Director Walter Narine, GCCI Chairman Kester Hudson, and representatives from the GMSA and the Chinese Association of Guyana. All attendees underscored the importance of a collaborative effort to maintain a clean and healthy environment across the nation. Dr. Ashney Singh highlights ongoing issues in NIS system at trainee inspectors graduation. Senior Minister in the Office of the President with responsibility for finance and the public service, Dr. Ashney Singh, addressed the backlog issues within the National Insurance Scheme, NIS, during the graduation ceremony for trainee inspectors. Speaking at the event held at the Arthur Chung Conference Center, Dr. Singh acknowledged the clearance of 18,000 cases from August 2020 to present, but emphasized that the system still has significant challenges. Far too many people attain the age of retirement and then encounter difficulties in getting their pension, Dr. Singh noted. He highlighted that many retirees discover gaps in their contributions due to employers failing to pay the required contributions to the NIS. That is not acceptable, he stated firmly. Dr. Singh reported that recent efforts by the government and the NIS, particularly targeting the security sector, have compelled several private security companies to remit contributions for over 2,100 security guards. He reiterated the government's zero-tolerance stance on employers failing to pay NIS contributions and called for increased efforts to ensure compliance. This is not a discretionary matter. The law requires you to deduct the employee's NIS contributions and for yourself, the employer's contribution, and to pay it over to the NIS in a timely manner, Dr. Singh asserted. He urged employers with any backlog of contributions to promptly address them with the NIS. Dr. Singh also appealed to citizens to monitor their NIS records regularly and not wait until they are nearing retirement age. He encouraged self-employed individuals to start contributing early to avoid issues later in life. The ceremony celebrated the graduation of 30 individuals, including 20 new inspectors, 4 customer service representatives, 2 internal auditors, and 4 nurses for sick visitors. Dr. Singh congratulated the graduates and urged them to perform their duties professionally, proactively, and diligently. The event was attended by several NIS officials, including General Manager Ms. Holly Greaves and members of the NIS board.